Social media, Mambo. So just to sum that up, start and grow your Facebook and Insta pages. Make sure they're looking branded and suit your studio. Use scheduled and organic posts mixed together so it doesn't get boring and stale. Set up your meta ads. Yeah, a bit of trial and error. Make sure you track them. Make sure you know how they're going. You know, if it's getting up to, $3, $4, $5 a lead, you're probably going to be like, nah. Yeah, keeping it under that, obviously. Create your studio YouTube and TikTok accounts, and get the kids and the studio, the team involved as well. It's always fun. Okay, we're getting to the end, guys. We're getting to the end. If there's any questions, I think I saw a question come up. It's so small I couldn't read it. So the guys are keeping track of these, and we will talk about those at the end. So yeah. Finance funk. So that's me with my head asleep on the computer because I really am not all that excited about finances. And I'm not sure who that person is, but I'm sure there are people who are excited by finance. But it's got to be done. So we're addressing it because it has to be done. So yeah, while most of us find it a bit hard to motivate, we do have to know our figures. So might help just to do, okay, every first Friday of, the month is going to be look at my figures, do it in the morning because, you do it in the afternoon. By the time it gets to the afternoon, you can't be bothered, and just do it. It might be when you do wages. I think sometimes when I do wages, it just helps me to do a quick flick once a week, do the quick flick on the wages week, and then have a day where I actually look at it properly once a month. Not that I love it, but I do. So you want to check your income, obviously your expenses, your profit and loss, and your balance sheet. Now, if you're not sure what exactly to look at, and it might be your expenses and bringing them down, which is probably the most common. Talk to your accountant. He's the dude doing that. Talk to your accountant because they actually like this stuff. And if you go and ask them a question about finance, they're like, yes, let me help you. So just check out, and that's why we have an accountant, and make sure you get a good one that knows a bit about dance is always very helpful. Something that's not quite as boring that maybe you can do is just think about your class budgets. So how many students do you need to have in each class to make it profitable? How much does it cost to run the class each week? So think about everything, not just the teacher wage, but, you've got to have an admin person on, you've got to, buy this, do that. So think of all your costs involved with that class. And if it's a new class, how much money are you going to allocate to it until it starts making money? So it's going to cost you money. Potentially, a lot of classes will cost you money at first until you build them. So how much are you going to allocate to that? So it's not just your advertising costs, which we talked about earlier, but also how much money you're going to allow for that class to build. And it might be different depending on the class and numbers and all of that, but it's something you want to make a budget for each class. Do you have systems in place if a class drops under the numbers that you need to make it profitable? Who's going to tell you that class has happened, or is it going to run all term and lose money and you have no idea because you're not there on Wednesdays? So yeah, there should be a system in place that will allocate a notification to you somehow if that drops under a certain number. But there's something you need to think about. I think mine, I had 6 was my was my minimum in any one class. If it dropped under 6, the teacher would speak to me, and then we had a discussion about, the teacher and I had a discussion about whether this class was viable. Did they think it was going to build? What was the problem? And it was a discussion. It wasn't I'm blaming you, the class has dropped down. It was what do you think happened? Do we think it's worth advertising just for that class? Or should we combine? If you've got your team on board, they don't mind coming to you and discussing whether these classes are viable, because let's face it, it's about having the numbers on the floor. Same with event budgets. It's almost, the same type of thing. You're looking at how much does the event cost? Are your ticket prices covering all of the costs? And can you up the perceived value so that you can make more profit? Like, you're thinking about when you're breaking it down, a lot of the times it might be that I want to pay for that and then buy a program. And can you include the program, the video, and all sorts of things like that, and work out so that you're actually making more profit, but it looks better for the parent? Can you telling your families what they're receiving and how valuable it is? I think that sometimes we don't remember to do. We forget to tell them how much we're giving them, and we know how much we're giving them, and we get upset when they don't appreciate it, but did we tell them? So make sure you are telling them what they're getting and how much they're getting, and make that perceived value higher. Inclusive fees is another way, I think, I found in my studio, it made a huge difference for me. It was a hard change, and any big change is a hard change. I know it's suggested that you might lose 5%, but I don't think we lost anyone over changing to inclusive fees. I had a lot of complaining, but I had a lot of good answers and a lot of good scripts and a lot of good systems in place to combat that. So firstly, are you charging enough for your classes? Because if they're looking at the class and comparing it down the road, you might have a better product, but they want it at that price. So having a pricing system that works inclusively can change all of that for you. You're going to tell your families how much they're receiving, and then work out a price which actually was a higher profit margin for me. So I've got, is this the next slide? Let me just check here. Please take a photo of this if you want. This is what I had in my package for my classes. So when they join, it included, so we're just getting the class, right? They were getting registration fee, which covers all their admin costs. They were getting insurance, music licensing, class tuition, costumes, one per class, end of year trophy, access to their parent portal, stage rehearsals if needed, access to music syllabus work for exams, music for classes through the parent portal for practicing, extra help in large classes by our assistant teachers, exciting variety of performance opportunities, end of year performance video, end of year breakup party, little surprise treats throughout the year, guarantee lots of fun. We did have to add afterwards non-inclusions, and they were things that we had no control over at times, which was the company or the elite costumes, because they were quite expensive and we only charged what they were worth. Exam fees, because we didn't know if the companies were putting their fees up or what level the kid would do that year. And we didn't include the ticket because we did that through TryBooking, another system that works really well through TryBooking. So, you know, we gave them a whole lot of stuff. This is everything that you're getting. So you're not just getting the class, that's just one of the dot points in there. Make sure you're telling them what they're getting. Yeah, make sure they appreciate what they're getting. And then go, and now we're going to do direct debit. And we're going to do 10 payments, not 12. So you're definitely not going to pay in December. Of course, you're not going to pay in January, but December when the concert is, we're not going to make you pay. You know, you're coming to class for free in December. So they feel like they're getting something for free. Really, it's not. We just condense it into 10 payments. You can do this anyway. You can do, I know other schools have done 12 payments and have like subscription fees. And so there's a lot of different ways it can be done. But we went totally direct debit straight away. We didn't have any, oh, I feel bad. We just went, nope, that's it. Look, there was a fair few things about, oh, I don't want to give my bank details, or I don't want to give my credit card, or there's a few of those things. But obviously we just had to work through those. But it stopped the admin work that hours that my admin team got back was crazy, because people only let it bounce once and then they just go, oh, I don't want to get that $15 bounce fee, and it doesn't happen again. If it does, we just stop them dancing. It was just put in the rules straight away. We process monthly. You could do more. That would be up to you. And obviously we didn't do Christmas, which was good because it allowed them to have that extra money to spend at concert time. So all of the costumes being included was huge. That was probably the best thing. I found that when people left, which happens, we weren't happy about it, and we did send them an exit survey, but when people left, they never asked for anything back because there was no refund and they didn't know how much they'd paid towards costumes. Where earlier they had said, well, I've paid for a costume and I'm not going to do the concert, I want a refund, because they had itemized costume fees. Now they didn't have that, so it stopped all of that. I think the only one that became a little bit annoying is if they join in like June, they have to pay a certain fee to catch up the costume component and the performance component. But we said to them, don't pay the first week, make sure you're going to stay first, and then you can catch that up. And we direct debited it on the next month. So, I mean, there's ways around that. We had worked out that the costumes were actually paid for within the first 3 payments, or maybe in 2 payments, as well as classes. So we weren't losing anything at any point. So it was much better, much cleaner, and made a lot more money. Okay. So other things, upselling and other revenue streams, you've probably heard about this lots of times. Inviting kids to take more classes. Sometimes they just don't know that they can. I walked up to one of the parents and said, oh, are you going to do comps next year? And she went, oh, am I allowed? Like, oh, okay, well, as long as you're doing the ballet and the jazz tap, which you're doing now, of course you are, because, oh, yeah, then definitely. Sometimes it takes a bit of invitation. You need to invite them into the next class so they know they're welcome. As I said earlier, the little Christmas card things, or, it's been a fantastic year cards, and get the assistant teacher or teacher to write on it, next year, please do this, and add this, always upsell. Bundling classes can work for a lot of studios. I know a lot of the preschool schools do, their jazz tap, and then they add on half-hour ballet, or add on, so it's an hour and a half. So you can kind of bundle it so it's a bit cheaper. That tends to work with a lot of the rec kids as well. Is there more things you can add, like more merchandise? Can you be selling stockings that, they're going to wear for the concert, even if they're not the perfect color, but, you're only paying $2 and you're selling them for 10? Stuff like that. Assistant teaching programs, you can now have assistant teaching programs that the kids pay you to become assistant teacher, which I think should always have been. You're teaching them so much, and teaching is a totally separate skill to dancing. So there are programs out there for assistant teaching, and you charge the student to join. We can help you with that. If you're interested, let us know. VCE for us, or vet dance. Other states have different programs, but moving into that higher school level, they can do it within their high school certificates. So that's also something that we do here. Selling dance shoes. I know a lot of schools have got their own little shops and doing really well with that. There's the birthday parties, the cheerleader parties, and the dance parties, and a lot of studios. I saw an Instagram post from one of my studios the other day, having these amazing, they got in a princess, the mermaid one, Ariel. Yeah, got her in and she was dancing around with the kids. It was just super gorgeous. And of course, another great way for the studio to make money. Okay. So you need great software and support. So do you have the right software? We did talk about your CRM, which you need to look at. Make sure you've got a great bookkeeper and a great accountant. It might be a virtual assistant doing your bookwork, because let's face it, it's fairly, once you know how to do it, you know how to do it. But definitely have an expert accountant on board, and make sure you've got that support on the financial side. This is me and Brendan doing a course we did with Mike McCallowitz. Amazing dude. I don't know if anyone's using the Profit First system. We certainly are. It's definitely something you want to look at. We do have actually a summary book on our website. There's a couple of free things on our website. We've got some free email lists there. We've got the Profit First book summarized. There's a few things there, but it's a really great system. It you take percentages out. You have a few different accounts, and you take the percentage out for your profit, then you take percentage out for wages and take it out for rent, and you take all the things out first so you actually know what you've got sitting there to spend. So sometimes you look and go, oh, I can afford those acro mats, and then you put everything aside and you go, wait, no, I can't have to wait another month for those acro mats. You know what I'm saying? It's a great system, and it's not hard. Takes a little bit of setting up, but nothing difficult. But it's certainly, he has other books as well, but certainly read Profit First, or at least the summary on our website. It's a great system to implement.